Dear friends and members of the Gideon Planetarium Observatory, thank you for joining us tonight. Tonight, it's very similar to the online science cafe that we repeat every last Tuesday of every month, but this time we have a special occasion, the total solar eclipse that is taking place through Mexico and the States, and we will be watching it in a couple of hours to actually was near the longest eclipse, around 9:17 Cyprus time. It is the most elongated eclipse through the States and Mexico. So we will be talking during this session. We have lots of time until we have some beautiful, wonderful, actually amazing views of the sky. Already some of the live broadcasting, live streaming already started, and they are showing the sun with the sunspots and the filaments and some amazing prominences and the Graniums, and I've been watching it for the last 15 minutes or so, but we will come to that very soon. We will talk to you about the Global Astronomy Month that is organized by the Astronomers Without Borders Worldwide, and me as the National Coordinator for Cyprus will repeat some of the major events. We mentioned some of the events in the previous Online Science Cafe. We're coming down now to the most important events. And thank you, Harry Hayfield, the Astronomers Without Borders National Coordinator for Wales colleague. Thank you for attending this online meeting. Thank you, Andrew and Yana, for being present, Alexander and Mihalis. And I will start sharing my screen. And of course, I will start talking about what's on this month and talk in details about this total solar eclipse. It's a really nice thing to observe, especially if you have the chance and to experience it yourself at a place where it actually occurs. So I'll share my screen now. Okay. So the reason for, as I mentioned earlier, for doing this event online is tonight is the total solar eclipse, the main reason, but also to remind you of the Astronomers Without Borders celebrations of the Global Astronomy Month. We have more than 42 national coordinators worldwide, and let's see what's going to happen this month. You're watching the official video, the trailer for the Global Astronomy Month. All these pictures were contributed by the national coordinators of the 42 countries. This Global Astronomy Month is celebrated every April after 2010. Beautiful nebula. We are uniting the world with our events. Everything happens at the same time globally. third parties. One people, one sky is our motto. As you see, we're trying to involve all the ages. This is one of our meetings. So the heavens are our freedom. One people, one sky. Celebrate the sky with us. So these are the main events, and what we're trying to promote. If you're hearing some explosions, they are fireworks, not from us, from somewhere nearby. So guys, this is the poster where it shows the main events of the month. Now, let's come to the main and most popular events of the month, the Sundays. So we are asked to organize some events during Sundays to celebrate the Sun Day. So during these events, we invite people for solar observations. We bring our telescopes either with a UV filter to observe the sun in white light, and or the hydrogen alpha filters to show the chromosphere of the sun. And we're doing actually outreach related to the sun. The next one, another important event is the Globe at Night. This one starts April the 12th and that's April the 21st on the North Hemisphere. And because we have a different one for the Southern Hemisphere, actually it's a different constellation, but it is related to the Southern Hemisphere. But in the Northern Hemisphere, we are taking measurements of the light pollution using an app to report it. And we are also studying the constellation of Leo. We learn about the mythology of the constellation of Leo. How can we find it on the night sky, and so on. And at the same time, we learn the brightness of the main stars, and we can take measurements and submit it through this application on our mobile phone. Now, the main event, if I'm not mistaken, the total solar eclipse, a very, very, very unique experience is taking place in a couple of hours. Total solar eclipse will cross the North America and Mexico today, and 15 United States states are within the path of totality. Now, to be honest, when I met Alexander, he was an eclipse chaser. I was not at the moment. I was always fascinated by that, but because I never lived the experience of totality, I thought that it was not so unique. I have experienced 97%, if I remember well, in 2010, 2009 in Cyprus. We did observations, yes, we realized a sudden change in temperature. The birds went crazy flying around, but I never experienced totality. So in 2017, with some friends from the JPL, we created a team and we went to Madras in Oregon, in the States, and we observed the total solar eclipse. Of course, during the totality, it was totally different compared to my experience with the 97%. It's totally different to have complete darkness in the day and being able to observe, I can't remember where it was, Venus, and then study the solar corona and take pictures and measurements and what we call diamond ring. This is what you see in the picture. In the center, we have here 7 pictures of the sun, okay? And the center one is the one which shows the glowing totality and the solar corona, and on the first on the right from the center, we see what we call the diamond ring. Of course, it was a very, very unique experience. Also, what we felt like when the weather changed, and we will see in a bit in a small video at the end from NASA how it feels like. Now, another important event is the asteroid search campaign. What we do, we collaborate with NASA and Simon University in Hawaii, and we take images and we analyze these images. And we call these citizen scientists projects because we share these projects with the general public. We train them, we enter them in our teams, and we try to discover new asteroids in the main asteroid belt. And when we're talking about the main asteroid belt, we are talking about the area which is between planet Mars and planet Jupiter. Since we have developed the technology, worldwide we have discovered approximately 1 million asteroids, and our team here using these projects have discovered 8 provisional asteroids, and we are very, very proud of this, and we have received our diplomas from NASA and Hudson University for these discoveries. Very important issue that comes to our everyday life is light pollution, and we organize the International Dark Sky Awareness. This year started on April the 2nd and it ends April the 8th. So as you all know, light pollution is a very, very fast-growing problem. And compared to the ancient times where people could see the heavens and they actually had a different image of the night sky compared to us, especially we are living in large cities, especially inside the city. If you're living in the suburb, it's even better. If you are living in a village, it's even darker, and rural sky is even darker. And then then you need to travel for a long time, especially in Cyprus. You need to drive 2-3 hours. In England, you need to drive 4-5 hours to reach the dark skies and to be able to have excellent views of the night sky and do, for example, deep sky observations or deep sky astrophotography, etc. Here, at the background of this slide, you see that how on the left, number one, actually, this picture is divided into 8-9 parts, okay? Now, every part is a column, vertical column. Now, first on the left, excellent dark sky. You see that you can you can observe details of the Milky Way and so on. Now, column number 2 is dark sky side. Number 3 is rural. You see it gets brighter. Number 4 is suburban and rural transition. And you can see it's becoming brighter. And as we're coming near the city, it's brighter and brighter and brighter. And if you come to 7, 8, 9, these columns, you can see that there is a lot of light pollution. You cannot even experience the view of the night sky. I have experienced this in Budapest. Yes, the lights there, they project the beautiful architecture of Budapest, but especially if it's cloudy, you cannot see the night sky. This light is trapped under the clouds, and you cannot observe the night sky. And it's totally devastating experience. It's very unique experience not to be able to see the stars. For us that we live in Cyprus, it's normal to be able to observe the stars. We are in a village, we are in small towns where everybody gets the experience of looking at the bright stars, and most of us are able to identify the Milky Way, especially in the summer. But when you live in large cities, then you need to save energy, first of all, protect the environment, and of course, as we know, especially white light, especially the time we are trying to sleep, this light could create insomnia and other health problems. Lyrids meteor shower, okay, it's at the end of the month, and the comet Thatcher is responsible for this Lyrids meteor shower. For those that they don't know what a meteor shower is, meteor showers are actually dusts that are remnants from the path of a comet near the sun. A comet is considered a comet as a large icy ball carrying dust from space, and when it comes near the sun, it melts, and this dust is spread out. And when the Earth passes from this place where they're left behind, they enter the atmosphere, and because of the oxygen friction with the oxygen, they burn, the light is created, and we see these very nice, beautiful meteor showers, as we call them. So meteor showers, or these meteors, usually they are as large as rice. They are not bigger, and they are not related to meteorites, okay? They are called meteors, and they are not meteorites. Meteorites usually are parts of larger rocks that they fall on the Earth, and usually they come from the main asteroid belt or some pieces that were coming from the moon, etc., or other planets. But these meteor showers are remnants of dust, remains as large as rice maybe, and they are entering the atmosphere. So they do not reach the ground. Usually they burn from 80 kilometers altitude to 70 kilometers altitude. And this is not a major. This is not a very active meteor shower. We could observe up to 20 meteors per hour, and our Astronomy Without Borders website will project a live stream. On the 26th of April, there will be a global star party in all countries. We will be organizing star parties at the end of the month. Usually we do it as a closing event for the Astronomy Without Borders celebrations. And we share the knowledge about the stars, and we have observations using telescopes. For more information, you can visit the website astronomycyprus.eu, and there you can just press the link and visit the international projects, Global Astronomy Month, but also Astronomy Without Borders, myastronomerswithoutborders.org. Enter the events and view the calendar, so you can even join an event in another country. Now, when we talk about an eclipse, it means that three celestial objects come to an alignment. Now, in this case, we have the moon in the middle. So we have the sun on one side, the earth on the other side, and we have the moon in the middle. Now, if we have a straight line between these three objects, and the moon is in the appropriate distance, because it has an elliptical object, that's why we don't have every month a total solar eclipse, then some parts of the Earth experience the passing through either the partial shadow which we call a penumbra, or the full shadow of the moon, which we call umbra. Now, if we are on this place, as you see on the image here, where we have this dark spot on the Earth, this means that the lights from the sun are being blocked from the point of view of these observers here. This means that the moon blocks the view of the sun. So this means that here, these people that on these dots, this area that's covered by these dots, they will experience totality. The rest, that they are in the partial shadow of the moon, they will experience partial solar eclipse. Now, these here, of course, they are the most lucky. Yes, Alexander, you agree? So, and this is what we are going to observe today. The best time is around 9:15 in the evening, and I will share the links with you. So, this is what happens when we have totality. Now, the Astronomers Without Borders, to share the experience and the knowledge, we have created an app for the mobiles. Initially, we activated for the iPhones, and now we activated for the Android phones as well. So if you go to the applications software from the on your iPhone or on your Android on the Play Store, you can download the One Eclipse application, and you can people can share images, they can share knowledge there, and you can have contact with the people that they are observing the eclipse, and you can also see the path of the eclipse and many more, much more info. Now, let's see what comes up. A nice video from NASA talking about the eclipse. This is how it will travel across the Earth on top of the States.
When you experience an eclipse, you feel that connection with space.
This is daytime, guys, huh?
The universe, the other planets affecting us, we are in space.
And here it comes, there's the diamond ring. And that is the most spectacular sight.
The diamond ring.
Haven't seen it. You haven't seen anything.
Now, we will be watching now some of the live streaming, mainly from NASA. Time and date already started, and NASA most probably has started, because if I remember well, we have the first contact at 7:51 red 51 Cyprus time. Let me check it, depending on where you are, of course. So let me check the live streaming. Do you have any questions related to what we talked about? Okay, I will share now. New share. Okay.
lake. So we're just off the centre, and that means that we're looking at getting about 4 minutes 26 seconds of totality here. So it's an absolutely brilliant spot. We're a little bit nervous about the clouds, but who isn't in Texas at the moment?
Can you see this image of the sun?
If there's anything that UK astronomers have, it's optimism.
And you can hear.
Yeah, excellent. Yes, looking at the clouds there, Neil, I mean, yeah, you are just down the road from us, and it is looking very similar to what we've got here, just up the road from you in Llano. And how's the wind on your side?
There's no wind here. We're pretty sheltered on this veranda. We're staying at the most amazing ranch. So we've got a really good spot outside. The shadow that you were talking about, that's going to be passing hopefully towards us from the southwest sort of direction. And yeah, so it's looking not too windy. The sun's shining at the moment. As long as it's doing that at 1:34, then we'll be very happy.
Excellent stuff. Yes, and yeah, Neil, you said you're over here from the UK. You run this amazing organization in the UK called Go Stargazing, and you do all these incredible things to encourage people to get out and enjoy the night sky. We're going to be collaborating with you again in September. In fact, when we have a lunar eclipse coming up, could you tell us a little bit more about Go Stargazing and the work you do?
I'll just do that in just a second as that helicopter flies over. Perfect. They obviously wanted to be up on your live stream. So there they go.
So guys, can you see the image of the sun? Alexander, can you see the image of the sun?
Yes, of course.
Okay, so now, and on the left side is the UTC time. So we have to add 3 hours. Now, it explains here how it will go according to the time. But here on this image, we observe some what we call sunspots. These are places where we have concentrated magnetic fields, and they don't allow the solar plasma to reach the surface. So we have a temperature drop in these areas, guys. So we observe them like this. Let's see if we have any other.
Please, and it's taking the power.
Okay.
Or there, I think. Well, my fingers crossed. Wherever you are.
Let's see, we have something different here. Those two have the same. And I will put now in the chat the links.
right-hand corner of your screen. We're expecting totality there in about an hour and 4 minutes. And we want to thank
Can you watch now the NASA?
North America. Because of them, we will also
NASA streaming?
sun during this entire broadcast, which is
Right, all the way from
Alexander?
up to me.
yeah, a very large swath, and we have it covered the whole way through. Now, if you scan your QR code that you see on the screen.
Yes, I hear it.
Proper protection that
Everyone to enjoy the eclipse today, but we want them to do it safely.
right. So how do you do that safely? Well, you should be shielding your eyes with eclipse glasses like these. Hopefully you bought them from a reputable source and that they have a special rating on them. And this rating means that the lenses meet international standards to protect your eyes from the sun's bright light. But Sarah, you can remove the glasses during totality.
That's right. If you're lucky to be in the path of totality, you can, for those, that short amount of time that you're in 100% totality, 99% totality doesn't cut it.
Right, exactly. 100%, nothing less. Now, if you don't have eclipse glasses, you can enjoy it indirectly with tools like pinhole projectors. And if you want to make one with us live in about 30 minutes, just grab a sturdy piece of paper or cardboard and a thumbtack or other sharp pen. I'm going to use my NASA pen for what I need to get. All right, so Sarah, what are we expecting today? What is a total solar eclipse?
So total solar eclipse happens when the Earth, the moon, and the sun are so perfectly aligned that the moon completely blacks out our view of the sun.
And does that happen often?
Actually, somewhere in the world, there's an eclipse about every 18 months or so, but like in any particular place, it's a pretty rare event.
Yeah, I mean, specifically here in Cleveland, the last time Cleveland had a total solar eclipse, get the 1806.
Wow, that's remarkable.
So quite a long time ago. Once in a lifetime opportunity. All right, but not everyone is going to be able to see the moon completely eclipsing the sun.
That's right. Only those of us in this narrow path of totality, but just about everyone in the U.S. will get to see a partial eclipse today, weather permitting.
Weather permitting, yes. I hope that Cleveland here and everyone else along the path of totality will be good and clear. Okay, so let's take a look at today's path of totality. It passes through parts of Mexico, 15 U.S. states, and southeastern Canada. There's an estimated 32 million people who live along the path, and not to mention the tens and thousands of people who traveled to somewhere along it as well, like us. You're from D.C. and you're from Florida.
I feel very lucky to be able to get to travel to see this one.
Yeah, absolutely. And we're going to have live reports from our correspondents spread out across the path. All excited to share this event with you. Some recognizable locations in between: the Indianapolis Motor Speedway, home of the famous Indy 500, and then also Niagara Falls, where officials expect up to 1 million visitors. Look at our team there waving at you. Happy to see you guys, and we'll hear from you soon. Okay, so again, we will hear from those correspondents, but also on our broadcast, a live interview with astronauts on board the International Space Station. Sarah's already ready. She's ready. Because that's going to be obviously a unique place to witness today's celestial event, so we'll talk to them about that. We're also going to explain some of the science NASA will conduct during the eclipse and why that's important to you. And if you have questions about today's cosmic alignment, use the hashtag eclipse to send those in wherever you're watching us. We already have some questions from some kid and a celebrity. I can't wait to surprise you with who that is. All right, in addition to NASA's eclipse event here, there are plenty more in communities across the country, so why don't we take a look at some of them now? All right, so this is the California Academy of Sciences. That's a beautiful place to witness.
They have great weather today. They're only going to get a partial eclipse there, but still, that is more than enough reason to get outside and enjoy some time with your friends and family.
Waco, Texas, people have their seats. They're ready to go. They're all comfortable. I see some coolers there. Oh. And this is the Adirondack Sky Center. They have a big field for people to be, a couple of days ago, we saw the same field. It was covered in snow.
So I'm glad they have a nice place to stay.
Exactly. And Kennedy Space Center, the famous rocket garden that we have at the visitors complex there, that's also a cool place to watch a partial eclipse. Yep. Yeah. And then lastly, the Mentor Civic Amphitheater, a nice big field again to take a look out into and enjoy today's event. I'm sure that'll fill up soon.
Yes, I'm sure. It's still gathering there.
All right, very much a party atmosphere we've seen in some of those watch parties, and especially here, again, the music, the exhibits, all the things happening here, kind of reminds me of a sporting event, you know? So because of that, I'm going to ask you, who's the GOAT today, right? Is it the moon, is it the sun, or is it the earth?
I mean, I'm a lunar scientist, so maybe a little biased, but you gotta go with the moon on this one, right? It's the moon that is like coming in for the block today. It's all the action to the moon.
I love that sports reference, but I'm gonna have to say Earth. Because, well, first of all, we love our home planet, right? But because we're here, the moon has something to project its shadow on, and that's why we have the celestial alignment and show we're about to see today. That's where I'm going. That's how I'm going, yeah? All right, and now we want to know which team you're on. You can cast your vote by going to @NASA Solar System on Facebook, X, or Instagram, and we'll reveal the winning team at the end of the broadcast. Earth. The moon shadow will only be over land for about 1 hour and 28 minutes today, moving at an average speed of about 1,900 miles an hour. Keeping track of it for us is NASA's James Straley.
Yeah, thanks so much, Megan. I'm going to have to go with option number 3 there, the sun, because it gives us the energy for us to thrive here on Earth. And speaking of energy, it is bustling here at the Kennedy Space Center Visitor Complex. I'm coming to you from our new Gateway exhibit, where we today only have a partial eclipse, but still super excited to be tracking all of today's events live with our Eclipse Explorer. This right here is a fantastic tool that was developed by our friends at NASA Goddard Science Visualization Studio. They put this tool together for us to track the eclipse down to the exact second. If you wanted to get an access to this yourself, get a feel for how this is going to look in your neck of the woods, you can go to go.nasa.gov/Eclipse Explorer, and you can track where your city is going to be, your zip code, by punching it into this little box here. It's going to snap right to your location and give you some key stats. You just saw Cleveland there, so I can bring them up here. Cleveland is expecting peak totality here to start at 3:13:45 to be precise, local time. They've got a time of totality of 3 minutes, 49 seconds, plenty of time to really sit back and bask in their moment in the fully eclipsed sun. I'm going to be tracking all of this all throughout the afternoon for you to make sure that you do not miss a second of this coverage. Even if you're outside of that path of totality like we are right here, more than 99% of the U.S. is going to be able to see at least a partial eclipse. Some places are already experiencing, you just saw that footage from Mazatlan a little while ago, they're already experiencing a partial eclipse. And as always, if you are in partial, be sure to wear proper eye protection to protect your vision so you can safely enjoy today's fantastic celestial event. Plenty of awesome stuff coming up. We're going to keep a keen eye on that weather. Cleveland's looking nice and beautiful, very clear skies. Megan, back to you.
Thank you, James. And joining us now is Dr. Bob Lehman, a heliophysicist at NASA's Goddard Space Flight Center.
Thank you.
It's great to have you here.
Thank you very much.
So talk to us. Today's total solar eclipse, it's going to look very different from what we saw 7 years ago, right?
It is, right. The sun is going to look, the solar corona is going to look very cool today. It's going to look cooler than it did last time. And I mean cool in the sense of wow.
Not cold.
Not cold, but the solar corona is like 1,000,000 degrees. But compared to last time, it was close to the solar minimum. The minimum amount of magnetic activity on the sun was this 11-year or so cycle, and 2017 was closer to minimum, and 2024, April 2024, close right to the maximum of that. We're going to see the maximum amount of dynamism of activity, and it's going to look, you'll see rays shooting out.
And does that increased activity mean that we have a chance for new discoveries today and increased science?
Sure. So in addition to all the science that will be done because of the eclipse, just greater activity levels means that we have more chance to see what the sun is going to do, increased radiation levels, increased activity eruptions that will affect the Earth.
So how does that affect the Earth, and how do we study those effects? What do we have, the tools, the assets to study those effects?
Sure. So we call the whole general thing space weather. So we increased radiation, or what we call coronal mass ejections, chunks of the sun that blow off and hit the Earth, and those affect things like power grids and radio communications and GPS satellites, all of which are everyday real implications for that thing that's 93 million miles away.
As you see, at the bottom of the screen,
Kind of like your Super
it
Bowl.
says use proper eye protection when watching the eclipse, unless the moon is completely blocking the sun. It's very important to behave properly during observation of the sun, as even when it's the sun is totally blocked by by the moon.
Really looking forward to it.
Yeah, absolutely.
And we will have a whole bunch of fun here.
Yeah, again, eclipses are a unique opportunity to really study the sun and how it affects us. So I know that, again, your fellow heliophysicists and really across the disciplines of science, I know that today is really special for a lot of people.
It is, yes.
Thank you, Bob. I really appreciate you being here.
Thank you so much.
All right, it's time now to check in with our first team along the path of totality. Here is
so guys, thank you for joining for us today. This live streaming of NASA will continue for up to 3 hours. So if you want, you can follow it yourself using the links in the chat. Thank you for joining. Do you have any questions related to the total solar eclipse or to any of the Astronomers Without Borders events? Diana, Andrei, Natasha, Mihalis? Okay. Then thank you for joining again. You may find in the chat the links, copy and paste them before we end the session. Thank you, Jenny, for your good words. And you may copy the links. You may send us an email if you want, planetarium@citanet.com.cy. I will write this in the chat as well. If you want to ask any questions related to the eclipse or anything else. So you may also call us. For the Greek and English, you may call me. For the Russian questions, you can call Alexander. So thank you very much for joining us. Follow the clips through the links and hope to see you last Tuesday of this month. Now our last, it's not the last event actually, we have another one on our online science cafe, 8 o'clock Cyprus time. Thank you very much, guys.